Hi folks, it's Alex Klingelhoeffer from Exencial Wealth Advisors. Today is March 15th, 2021. Happy Monday to you. It's 6:28 a.m. here in the middle part of the country. Here is your morning jog around the economic headlines for the day. Today we're going to start off in China. Overnight, the Chinese government released all of their January and February production data. Now you have to remember, China puts their first 2 months together because the country shut down for about 2 weeks because of Chinese New Year, and really positive data from the country. Industrial output rose about 35% year over year. Of course, they were doing lockdown before it was popular. That's where the virus started back last year. We also saw, I believe, refinery throughput up about 15% from December, which is big. We also saw steel production up around 13%, sort of on a month-over-month basis. They normalized it a little bit for the Chinese New Year, but all in all, pretty good data coming out of China as we get our week started. Seeing those industrial numbers is going to come back to us as we talk about sort of the inflation trade and what's going on there. TSA had a highest passenger screenings in nearly a year over the weekend. That's big. As planes start to come back, that's a big part of our fuel consumption. I checked out an EIA report over the weekend, and really our gas consumption is back to normal. We're about 99% of normal operating level when it comes to driving. The country is functionally reopened from a vehicle standpoint. We're still waiting for air travel to pick back up. So it was interesting to see that the TSA came out and said, hey, we're seeing more folks come through than ever before. Remember, we had a huge snowstorm over the weekend go through the biggest airport in the country, at least in terms of size. It's Denver International Airport. A lot of planes connect through there. And even then, with one of the biggest airports in the country really shut down or close to shut down for large parts of the weekend, record air travel numbers. So this isn't even the peak of spring break season. That happens a little closer to Easter. Once we see that, boy, you could see tremendous numbers, maybe even back to 75-80% of pre-COVID levels before we hit the summer season. Thailand started using the AstraZeneca vaccine, here. Now remember, last week we talked about Europe, specifically some of the Scandinavian countries, Nordic countries, not using the vaccine by AstraZeneca because of some blood clot issues. Thailand gave it the green light on Monday, and said they would continue to use the vaccine and go forward. Denmark and Norway, of course, are reporting some blood clotting issues. The more vaccines we have, the better vaccines we have, the more we can sort of get back to normal. Deal here on the Monday Morning Register. Deliveroo says they're going to IPO on the London Exchange. Of course, Amazon's a large shareholder of Deliveroo. It's one of the bigger meal delivery services there in the UK. They're looking to raise about £1 billion on a deal on the London Stock Exchange. Of course, that doesn't move the needle a whole lot for Amazon. It's a tremendously bigger company than Deliveroo. Amazon's a $1 trillion company. Deliveroo now going to be about a $7 billion company, according to the deal offering. As we can see, Amazon up a little bit in the pre-market. The market's a little bit higher. I think that was about 100 points. As folks look towards the middle of the week, of course, FOMC meeting this week. We'll see what the Fed has to say about policy rates. General expectations, they're going to be unchanged. They're not going to do much about anything. But I think the big elephant in the room is that inflation topic. As we're seeing industrial production coming up, we saw those big stimulus bills last week. Folks are going to want to know from the Fed what they say about inflation. They've made some speeches over the past couple of weeks, as we see here early on in trading to the U.S. 10-year relatively flat from last week, still about 1.6 basis points. Here is a recent graph from about 6 months. Let's go back to 3 years as we see. Folks, I think, forget the U.S. 10-year was trading at 3% a couple of years ago. So we still have a lot of room to grow, and valuations, can still remain at those levels as long as we don't see, ramping up into that 4.5% range. I think Goldman published a note here over the weekend that equity valuations up till about 2% here in the U.S. Treasury really won't change that much. That is your morning jog here for, again, it's Monday, March 15th. If you want additional information throughout today, feel free to follow me on Twitter, OKCCFACFP. Until then, I'm out.